This is day 1032 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor, come to share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please come to me directly. You very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Your Day, Siman Pei Dalet, Sif Tzadi Gimel, and we are finishing Pei Dalet today, and we're going to Pei Hey, and trying to get all the way up to Pei Hey's Sif Zayin. Tzadi Gimel. Od Kasav, the Rama also writes, Shalom to Elohim, Shal Gvina, with a custom with worms of cheese, L'achlonas to eat them. Abli Shakoftzim, Hena Ben Alavim, so they're jumping here and there on the cheese. But if they could please separate it from the cheese, Osim also we forbid them. However, they get mixed up into other foods, can remove them there. We don't forbid food. Those who print them all, no matter what. For it's best to be machmir if there isn't a substantial loss. Akan l'shona. Pirat Barim. What he needs to say, you need a few messages about chosim and zeh. According to the words of the saint, it's entire simon. There are three levels in the Isser of the worms, which have separated from the original place when the thing in which they are operating is separate from the ground. The reminder when it's in water in vessels, it's not called separating until they go outside the vessel. Fruit worms which generate within a fruit which is separate from the ground. It's called separating often pisha gabe pri, even it goes on top of the fruit. Certainly, if it goes leaves the fruit altogether, to the inner wall of the vessel. And the worms which generate in other types of food, like the milbin which are in flowers, the groifin, and in buckwheat, etc. Grits. Piresh, you can't call them piresh shema gabe kemach when they're top of the flour of groifin and the grits shari lo because they weren't generated within the fruit. Even when they're walking on the flour of groipin and the grits, have a kolo piresh, it's as if they were not. Then separate the whole tzavar, have a kol tzavar of a kedaber echad. All of the pile is like one big entity. Conform to Shulchan Sif Hey, found Sif Mem Hey, Sif Mem Vav Ayin Sham, as has been explained. And that when they're on the ground, it's called Pirshu. Raksh Pirshu, that's when they actually went down to the ground. If they're in a vessel, in a vessel, it's called Pirshu, even they go on the walls of the keli on the inside. In the fees, according to the worms which are meat, lachar shchita, after shechli or poskim, according to Moshe, worms in fish, worms in cheese. Near gankein adin kain. This also looks like also as follows. Well, as also as we just said, they're not necessarily generated within the food. But on the contrary, we'll be serving a gabi machol. Most of them come into existence on top of the food. When however, when they separate within the vessel, even on the inside, so if they go elsewhere outside the keli, vaday have a pirshu that's definitely considered to be separated, and they're forbidden. They jump here and there on the cheese, it's not a problem. When they completely separate, I feel even on within the vessel, even on the inside, mikra pirshu assume it's called that they separated and they're also. Some people say to loim elu these worms afilum pirshu l'garim mutarim, even if they separate completely, they're still mutar. So to loim misavim rov shuman, and they hold that worms are generated because of too much fat, or misirachon, or because of mold, or some sort of other type of rottenness. And doesn't have the name of a sheretz altogether. Lav a sheretz, it's only a sheretz where I can do a karka, only if it's from something which grows in the ground. Or matters that you drink, things you drink, kamayim, like water, shari mashkim, and other beverages. So Taz named Rasham, but he says named Rav Yah. Rama does not agree. They did rely on this in terms of a mixture. Rambam's day is utamor. Really, this opinion is astonishing. Shorei Ram goes to Hedi Perek Beis Yin Gimel Zel. The Ram writes, "Elu aminim ani v'roim ba'ashpos." These species which are generated in the garbages, uvagufa and avelos, and in the bodies of the dead carcasses, gonrim of a such as worms and maggots, v'chulei, mina glolim, and from excrement, sheisrichu, which went bad, chulei va'ochamim b'kazayis loke v'chulei. So his kazayis them gets malchus. Elu aminim. But peros or macholos, the types which are generated in fruit and in other edible substances, in if they're separate, etc. Even though they go back into the food, lo kevachule. Get malchus ankan l'shono. Hey, cause the call rishonim. Rishonim about the same thing. And they also shout on this like a loud bird. When the achronim, the pre-chadash, it seems. V'chalila lahakel b'zeh chas v'shon l'imekov. Chemukol Torah Kohanim Parsha Shmini, it says in the brackets. So evidently, he's not accepting the Ramah's leniency here. It seems. Sorry, I got interrupted there. Tzadik Dalet. That's with worms in cheese. That when they separate inside the keli, there are certain because I've got bush as well. On the mashachs, because I've got mutorim. If they're in the plate, it's okay. Only also if they went on the table. Seek al-bush, al-vush, and he argued with Lavush, Ayin Sham. Multiple I'm astonished. The Hedi Kazar Rabbeinu Beisaisiv Subsim and said the Rov Gidulei, though Rishon's feel like came. Beisaisiv writes, explicitly that most Rishonim hold this day, and we turn Rak Shapishu Gaga Chaticha. And only much when they go to the top of the piece. Rak Sasabrin, Latir Tokara, only very few of them hold to allow when it's in the plate. That's Rashba Lesor Afiluk Al Gabi Chaticha, and Rashba holds the semen also on the piece. How can we so make against the opinion most Rishonim, the negative Rambam against the Rambam negative Sforet, against logic. To be mako in this issue. Hey, sheretz saruf mutar l'achol mishum refuah. If you have a burnt sheretz, you're allowed to eat it if it's for medicinal purposes. Tafrabamo, it's just dirt. The sickness of epilepsy, it's like an internal wound, which is very dangerous. You can feed them with food which has a sheretz of, evidently have some sort of refuah. If it's clear cut refuah. If not, awesome. It's forbidden. If, however, the refuah is negated, but it's in 60. Obviously, not telling you where it's burned up, that where it's be'ain, but it's negated. Mutzer's missile. That which they say it's a refuah for people who have jaundice. What's that in English? Hepatitis. You're allowed to swallow lice. Also, you can't do it. They ain't for a buduka. It's not a definitive cure. If you inhale something which is also through your nostrils, it's your potter. It's not a way of eating it. It's a very name. This will be taken further. Pei hey. Now, this is not really some Ashkenazim, but nevertheless, we decided we're going to go in order. Once we started, you're there, and we are doing so. Pei Dine Chagovin, the laws of locusts, and of course for some Sfardim, I think relatively few, it is Lamaisa. Close Dine Machos. Laws of locusts and general principles we call it Isuri Machos, which probably will be related, relevant. Aleph. Chagogim yesh bohem tmeim v'torim. There are kosher and treif locusts. It says kosher treif alecha abashek zochem. And flying sherets, airborne sherets, and shekets achez zetachlu, except for kosher. So if these things you can eat from flying shrotim, holech al arba, which has 4 legs, the shalok ra'ayim imaragov, which has antennae above its legs, the terem oretz, to jump with them on the earth. As these you can eat as our belamino, and its type is Salam Mineu. I'm not sure about that in the translation, to be honest, but I think that's what it means. As Salam Mineu, and Salam, and the Chargal Mineu, and the Chargal Mineu. For Kol Sheretz Ov Ashalua Baraglaim, otherwise any Sheretz Ov which is 4 legs, it's also for you. Came on the Chagam to Meim Bechal Sheretz Ov, since the non-kosher locusts are including Sheretz Ov, Ochel Chagav Tamei, somebody eats a non-kosher locust, over by Belosa, say violates a positive commandment and a negative commandment. Kov Tamei, like eating a non-kosher bird. Must have a semen pay base. Beyond have semen ayin test, see base, ayin sham. Base, there's 8 types of locusts that should minute. Appear to Arba meaning says 4 types. Each one says, and its type, and its types, its type. So Arba, which includes another 4. The Veilan, these are they. Chagav, min chagav, he has vaznis. Chagav, min chagav, he are tsivya. Arba, min arba, he are tsipores kramim. So, means some yuchna Yerushalmis. All these enumerated in the Rambam. Mishu Baki Ben Mishal Sam, somebody who knows can identify them and by their names, Ochel can eat them. But Tzai Nemar Lenkov and a hunter, a trapper probably in this case, better translation, is believed which ones are kosher, not just like it's believed by birds. Mishena Baki Ben, somebody who doesn't know them. Both of you, somebody can check the signs. The Shlosha Tzvani Yeshman, they have 3 simonim. Kol Sheyesh Lo Abaraglaim. It's got to have 4 legs. And 4 wings, which cover most of the length of its body and most of the circumference of its body. And has 2 kra'ayim, with which it jumps. It's 2 long legs besides the 4. And so they're next to its neck. Above the legs, to jump. Who wants to jump. Bracket says here, Rashi Mishnah Nun Tes. Kasab Arbasi Manim, he writes 4 Simanim came Magmar Chashiv Chopos Rov Gufo L'Stim Te'atzmo. They count covering most of the body as its own independent simon. Varambam Chashiv can find Chopim Chulil Echad. He holds most of the body, the length of the body, and the circumference of the body is 1 simon. Kimudosh Chazal expound. Mehod Ksiv Asher Lo Kraim Vakriya Bevav. We read it with the Kriya Ksiv, even though it sounds the same. The Kriya is with a Vav, which that it has Kraim. The Ksibu Aleph, and the Ksibu with an Aleph, which is Masha Eno crime, that doesn't have crime. Abi Shalshav Eno, even though it doesn't have now, Adain crime, it doesn't have those crime yet, El Shasi the Gal Nachazman, but eventually it will grow them. Sheadua means Kain. Kainu, it's known with this type, Shinishgal Yula crime, and when it grows, it's going to have these crime, will touch mitzvah. Rankosab means that you can be aktafim. Rambam, it's also true about its wings. The Sha'ata ain't lo klafayim, even though it doesn't have wings now. It's going to grow them. Mutar tzmisel. The Maishna. What's the difference? Came the guy Rachon of crime. More than klafayim. That's true about the crime. I'm going to still call them antenna, even though it might be the wrong term. It's true also about the wings. The Pricharish and Ran. Tal be'elu minim shvar to Torah. These with Torah. Numerate Yeshman Shoshan Arukh. Some have long heads. Yeshman some don't have long heads. Some have tails. Some don't have tails. So if we don't care about the simanim of the head and the tail. Some of them have a bald spot by the shoshamuta. Their head is bereft of hair. They have hair on their head. So we don't not concerned with this simon either. But among the tamei, the treif locusts, they all have long heads. And they all have tails. But in terms of the bald spot, there also are differences. In the backwards, he says, Kafurama, 2 locusts who got gabachas mindam. That's the two didn't mention the bald spot because it doesn't mean anything, evidently. Hey, Arukh HaShulchan says that the Simanim Elu B'Nitzah Ganken Shemo Chagov. Because that's the name locust. Even though they have all the Simanim, and Ken Yesh means that Masores Shemo Chagov. That says in Masorah that this is called a Chagov. Sham Ram Kenu. Ram writes, I'll be sure Roch, even though it has a long head. It has a tail. If it's called Chagov, it's Torah. Mashno, it sounds like from his words, ain't Tzurch Shmo Chagov. You don't need to have a name Chagov unless it's a reusa. There's something fishy. Or a Roch, it has a long head. For Yesanav, it has a tail. Avarosh Kotzar, it has a short head. The Elosanov, it has a tail. Ain't Tzurch Lishmo Chagov. It doesn't have to be called a Chagov. So this could be also a simple way of learning the Gemara. Come never kasa magi mishnah do kabanaso lav dafka. Which says it doesn't really mean it specifically. And no matter what, it has to have a name Chakov. I ain't Sham Tzarchim. He does have a Torah Shulchan Aruch. But trappers will eat to say its name as a locust api Masorah Sholo based on his Masorah. We, the Ashkenazim, don't eat any locust. I feel b'chol simanim, even as all simanim. I feel do shishmo chagovim. It's known to be locust. Well, yeah, I don't think he went to Yemen because there are places where they do eat chagovim, but they're very rare. Vav, time Torah's kohanim. Ulim Torah's kohanim. Rabbi Omer kol sheretz of ashaloah baraglaim. Any sheretz of which has 4 legs. Tamei lachem is tamei. Im yesh lo chamesh. Whereas the Torah has 5, it's tar. Hagan l'shono. Tahai kroyseru. This pasuk is superfluous. Shemi kodim ksiba kol sheretz of alecha ba b'gomer. Achazet tachlu. You already know about the 4 legs business. Lamashin saw Torah to Pam. Why Torah address it another time? Lomar leimor to tell us that shelo raglaim utame. Does have to tell us another time that which has 4 legs is Tomei El Drosha. It comes to Drosha. Yesh l'chamesh, or is it Torah? If it has 5, it's Torah. And he was daiti. It seems to me, Perusho Kenu. This is what it means to say Lutem, but don't say Kem Nechsib, since it says Zet Tochlu Mikol Nechuli. How Lechar Ba, Gomer, the Dafko Lechar Ba, Kosher Basiman, she's bar only if it has 4 legs. It's kosher with the Simon which we spoke about. Abel Chamesh has 5 legs. Oh, Yos or more. Lomai Simon Elo Bav Kol Tomei does the Simon don't work in its Tomei. Let's say Shemino Torah with the Rak Barag line below Simon Tomei. Only has 4 legs without the Simon was Tomei. Av Simon Gambi Yosim Ba with Simon even 4, more than 4 legs is kosher. Private appears to Bolech Al Chamesh ain't so Simon clouds, maybe Chiddush. Private says you don't need any other Simon at all if it has 5 legs. I feel below Simon Torah and show me that even without Simon Torah. Mod Miani, I'm astonished, says Arukh HaShulchan. That was the case. Lo have a mishtani mishas l'skis. It's worse. There's certainly mentioned such a big chiddush. Adarab, the contrary. Lo shel mishnah magmara b'chulim avoid the below simoni v'atay tali. Then the simoni, no matter how many legs it is, it's tomei v'tzorachin. Zay chagavin and to mishchita kedogin. Locusts like fish now require shchita. V'dama mutar kedogin and like fish, their blood is mutar. V'adam, the contrary, or kilim dogin. It's more lenient than fish. The tzir dogin tameim also. The brine of tamei fish is also. But the brine of Tamei locust, Pascha Rama, the mutter, it's permissible fish because they have no moisture. Mishnah Mefreshli Beiduyas, explicit mention Eiduyas, Klomar that Alachluchish to him have a gazebam. Whatever moisture they have is like perspiration. Vein Blam, Shum Shamlus has no fat in it. Come, Yeshua, nevertheless, it's also some people say brine. It's also displayed that Mishnah Mari, Yehekshim Matara. Let's talk about whether it's can make something mukshal kabel tuma or not. The law not in terms of permitting eating. So that's right. But Yosham answer the right Jose Dios. Chem masham Yosham chuma sayinsham. To Yosham lo yivil de azel to Yosham not bring this opinion. The bracket says on Shas if kondai vil b'shem yam Yosham matzira osir after rova son eno. So the brine. If you have brine of treif locust outright, it's osir. But if it's in the taroves, it's mixed up. It doesn't osir.